Welcome back to the Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or to sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, many people have to help their parents move at some point in their lives. Sometimes it's to move to a smaller home. Others could be to move into an easier home to maintain or to a care facility. So what can you tell us about how people can help their parents sell their homes when the time comes?
Well, Richard, it's a very stressful time for most people. I've helped a lot of clients sell their homes after their folks have either passed away or had to go to a care facility or just downsize because they can't take care of a two-story or they can't take care of a yard anymore. But if you plan it well, it should be fine. And we do this all the time. We have lots of support to make it happen. We've helped a lot of people make a move in this situation. And many of them have either their families have downsized or they themselves want to go into a facility where they is kind of like what they call independent living, where it's a smaller place. They don't have to take care of a yard. They just have a nice living space and a bunch of people around them to help them with their living situation. So here's some steps when you're considering facing downsizing or having to deal with an estate sale. First of all, it's important that you hire a professional real estate agent that's really dedicated to get you the most money for your home. And try to find somebody that's had experience in this. It's not an easy process. I have helped a lot of people with a lot of different situations. And sometimes they're coming from out of state. It could be an unexpected situation. Like I had one last year where the parents unfortunately got killed in a car crash, and all the kids except for one were living out of state and they never sold the home before. It was quite a process to get through all that. So it's a very stressful time, and it's sometimes a sad time. But I would say in general, for everybody, you want to make sure that you have your financial life in order, your will in order. If you have a trust, those are great because it makes selling something like a house easy. If you don't, make sure you have a will in place. I helped one gentleman sell his sister's home who did not have a will. She passed away. And so it took some time, like 3 or 4 weeks, for him to be assigned the executor of the estate. And then we had to walk through getting the property sold. And it just takes a lot of time, but we did make it happen. Everything worked out fine. You also want to make sure that you minimize the time that the home is vacant. Now, I've got some pretty interesting stories to tell you about that, Richard. Right now, with us going into winter, you do want to make sure that the utilities are kept on, and it's one of those things that keeps me up at night this time of year when I have vacant listings. I'm like, oh my God, is the heat on before it freezes? I got to go check these properties to make sure, because it's the scariest thing to me to worry about a freeze break because the temperatures dropped and then a pipe burst, and then there could be a ton of damage on the property. But there's another thing to worry about now, and I've had a recent experience with it, which is having vagrants or drug addicts move into the home. That just happened to me, Richard.
I've seen this on television, and it is crazy.
Oh, it's terrible. It happened on this one property. We went over there. We tried to get him to get out. We called the police. They did not come. They weren't very interested. And the rules in the state are you actually have to evict them, even if they're illegally there. Once they get in, you have to formally go to court and evict them. And in the meantime, they are trashing. In this case, they were trashing this house. We got them out the first time. They scattered like rats. We cleaned up again. We found needles. We found chemicals. So that tells me they might have been using meth in this home.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's bad. That contaminates the property and makes it pretty much almost unsellable without doing tests and all this stuff. So then they got out and we cleaned it up and we started showing again, and they moved back in again.
Oh gosh.
And I'm like, okay, I'm not the police. And the problem was the utilities were on. So they were snug as a bug in a rug in this nice warm house, that had plumbing and running water, and they were happy as clams. I'm starting to get phone calls with my sign up, people calling saying, hey, those people are, going in and out of the house, taking stuff out of there, having barbecues.
Oh, jeez.
The drug addicts are having barbecues at this home. And then the worst thing that happened, oh my God, I got a call last week from the utility company saying, hey, the water use is high. It's an emergency. We are going out there to shut off the water. So it was a manufactured home and it was on a crawl space. And they literally filled the crawl space with water. Do you know how much water that is in a 2,000 square foot home? It was
Oh my
coming
gosh.
out from under the walls. That's how bad it was. And there's still people in the home.
And they don't care because it's not their home.
That's right. They
Yes.
walked
Oh.
out there and claimed that they were a relative of the owner, which is not true. And the utility company would not lock them out of the water. They shut it off, but they wouldn't lock it. I begged them to shut the utilities off. They would not do it. You have to evict them formally.
That is, I mean, see,
I'm like,
this is why you are so valuable, because this is the worst nightmare I think a homeowner can
It was
have.
horrible.
And
It's horrible.
you find yourself in a situation like that. I want somebody like you who's dealt with it before and knows how to deal with it.
Right. So you want to make sure if you have a vacant home that's part of the estate, that you make it look occupied, even leave some furniture in there. Don't worry about if it's not pretty furniture. We can digitally make it look pretty. Okay. But you want them to think that it's occupied for one reason or another. Have a lamp go on and off. Check on the property every so often. Put alarms in place. These guys actually, they're pros at it. They cut off the alarm. They knew exactly what they were doing. And they're just living in there happy as a clam, living large. So it's a nightmare story. I hope it never happens again. But here's the thing is you want to make sure that you get this done, get the home cleared out, get it on the market and get it sold as quickly as possible, and make sure people are regularly visiting the properties. And that's what we do for all of our vacant properties. We go check on them every week for this reason, and to make sure the heat is on, and make sure the doors are locked, and all the things that could happen when there's showings and the agents forget to lock doors and they use the restrooms and don't flush. I mean,
Oh God.
I've seen pretty much everything. But when you're getting rid of the stuff that you no longer want to leave in the home, I would say you could start early. My mom actually did this before her and my dad passed away 5 months apart. She actually told all the kids, hey, come and get what you want. Just do it. Which was kind of neat. So, we all went over there and negotiated whatever we wanted of family's possessions. And then she had a big estate sale. So we sold the rest of it. And then she moved into a independent living facility. So that worked out really well. But you want to make sure that all those things are done and sorted out. It's a huge project. I'm helping a client with it right now where, both folks ultimately passed away over time, and now they've got this huge household to deal with, and their strategy was to empty it out. And so that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And we have resources that can help you with things like repairs, improvements, getting rid of stuff that you don't want, making sure that if guidance, like one of the families asked me, hey, should we put granite? I'm like, no, you're not going to get money out of that if you put granite in the kitchen. As long as the counters are in good condition, let's just clean it up, make it look fresh, make it look clean. The only thing I recommended that they do is make sure that the flooring was fresh. And I just saw it the other day. It's got fresh flooring. It's going to look great when it goes on the market. And then just make sure there's no, personal property left behind, valuables, make sure those are put away. We also can recommend some local moving companies that can help you. There are some companies that will actually help your folks just point and they pack, which is really nice, and move them over. We also have our own moving vans. We have two now. We're getting to a point of having a fleet. One's big and one's smaller.
Yeah.
And those are great for people that might want to either put stuff in storage or repurpose it for whatever reason. And we offer our moving vans for free to our VIP sellers and buyers. Richard?
Amazing. Yeah, you're listening to the Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can tell why I think so highly of her. And if you're interested in selling or buying, call Barb at 719-301-3900. And we're talking about selling a home when the home sellers are facing a family loss, or a member needs to go into independent care, or some other things that home sellers might have to prepare for. What are some of those things, Barb?
Well, how they are in ownership is a very important part of this process. If it's a couple, okay, and they are not both in title and one or the other passes away, the other one has to go to the court and get established as the executor of the estate before they can sell the home. That takes about 3 weeks. I just had a client that happened to. So best case scenario is for a married couple to be in title as joint tenants, meaning if one or the other, God forbid, were to pass away, the other one would automatically get ownership without having to go to court, without having to deal with probate and all that stuff. But if not, you can still make it happen. Some of the kids and siblings will get power of attorney to handle the estate if the parents can no longer handle their financial situation. And if you're dealing with a piece of real estate, you want to make sure that you have the title company actually create a separate and unique power of attorney just for the home. The reason for that, you may have a general power of attorney for the whole estate, but the title companies only want their one specific to the home. It doesn't cost anything. If you need that done, give us a call. We can put you in contact with our trusted vendor title company that will do it for you for free. And then if you get assigned the executor, make sure you have some kind of documentation that proves that you could sign for the estate. The trusts are probably the cleanest document that you could have, which there's no mystery about it. It just, if it's owned by the trust, being able to sell a property is probably the easiest way. But if it's not in a trust, you want to make sure that you've got these other little checks in the box, that either you're on, don't be on title with your folks because there could be some tax consequences, but make sure that you already have a will in place, that you're the executor, and that, or a power of attorney would be even better. If there's, in the case of a power of attorney though, I have to say, they have to be alive and they have to be able to mentally function in order for you to sign for someone else. And don't worry about the mortgage. Whoever, if there is a mortgage, whoever's on the mortgage, it does not matter. You just need to know who the lender is and what the loan number is. Through the sale, the title company will order the payoff of the mortgage and it'll just get paid off and there'll be no problem. But most of all, hire somebody that has the experience that can help you get the home sold fast and for top dollar, and work through this process with as limited amount of stress as possible. Richard?
You are the agent who has the knowledge and the experience to help with all of these solutions in a tough time in people's lives. Regardless of that situation, Barb's team is ready to help you. Barb has thebuyers.com, or click on the green button in the upper right-hand corner, or just give her a call, 719-301-3900, a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about, do home sellers really save money if they're hiring an agent who discounts their fee? That's important. We'll talk about it when we come back.